What happens when two best friends decide to have a baby together? So my best friend Morgan and I had this crazy plan. We met sophomore year at college, and she was this super outgoing art major who was always painting her nails weird colors and dating girls who broke her heart. I was the quiet business major who spent most nights watching Netflix alone in my dorm. We clicked instantly, though. She'd drag me to parties where I'd stand in the corner eating chips, and I'd help her with her statistics homework while she complained about math being stupid. We were like the opposite of each other, but it worked. Fast forward 5 years after graduation, and Morgan's going through her third breakup with some girl named Jess who basically told her she never wanted kids. Morgan was devastated because having a family was like her biggest dream. She'd been talking about it since we were 20. One night, we're sitting on her couch eating leftover Chinese food and watching some rom-com, and she just turns to me and goes, "Leo, would you ever have a baby with me?" I literally choked on my lo mein and started laughing because I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. She explained how she wanted to raise a kid with someone she actually trusted, someone who wouldn't bail when things got tough. She said we already knew each other's worst habits and somehow still liked each other after 5 years of friendship. I took like 3 weeks to think about it. My family thought I was insane. My mom kept asking if I was secretly in love with Morgan, which was weird because Morgan's a lesbian and I'm bi, but definitely not into her that way. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. I told her yes, but with one condition. If I ever met someone I wanted to date seriously, she had to respect that. We found this duplex where she lived upstairs and I lived downstairs. When baby Isla was born, it was honestly perfect. Morgan handled mornings because she's naturally a morning person, and I did nights because I'm a night owl anyway. We had this whole system worked out. Isla's room was upstairs with Morgan, but I had a nursery set up downstairs too with a crib and changing table. For the first year, people thought we were the coolest parents ever. We weren't stressed like other new parents because we could tag each other out. When Isla was teething and screaming at 2 a.m., Morgan would just bring her downstairs and I'd take over. When I had to work late, Morgan never complained about handling bedtime alone. Everything changed when I met Camilla. She was this pediatric nurse at Isla's doctor's office, and she was amazing with kids. She had this warm smile and actually listened when I talked about how hard co-parenting could be sometimes. We started dating, and at first Camilla thought our setup was really cool and modern, but after like 2 months, she started making these little comments. "It's weird how Morgan just walks into your place without knocking. Why does she get to decide what daycare Isla goes to? You're not married to her, Leo. You don't owe her anything." Morgan hated Camilla from day one. She said Camilla was fake nice and controlling, but I thought Morgan was just being protective. They'd be polite when they had to interact, but I could feel the tension whenever all 3 of us were in the same room. The whole thing exploded the day Camilla moved in. I thought I'd mentioned it to Morgan, but apparently I hadn't. Morgan walked into our shared backyard and saw Camilla unloading boxes into my place. She completely lost it. "You're letting your girlfriend move in without even discussing how this affects our daughter?" Morgan was yelling, which she never did. Isla was napping upstairs and Morgan was trying to keep her voice down, but she was furious. Camilla came outside and said, "You're not his wife, Morgan. Stop acting like you own him." That's when I knew things were about to get really bad. Morgan told me I had to choose. Either Camilla backed off from trying to control our parenting decisions, or she was taking Isla and moving out. I thought she was bluffing. Morgan loved our arrangement. She'd always said Isla was happier with both of us around. She wasn't bluffing. Morgan packed her and Isla's stuff that same night. I tried to stop her, but she said Camilla had made it clear there wasn't room for both of them in my life. We went from being the world's best co-parents to talking through lawyers. Morgan filed for full custody, claiming the environment with Camilla was hostile to Isla. I fought it, but the court didn't like that Camilla had screamed at Morgan in front of Isla during one of our handoffs. I lost. I went from seeing my daughter every day to every other weekend. Morgan moved 2 hours away to live near her sister. Camilla and I broke up 6 months later because she said I was still too obsessed with my ex-wife, even though Morgan and I were never married. Now I see Isla 4 days a month.